If you guys have ever seen Dragon Ball Z, you are more than likely acquainted with the Buu saga, which brought us a lot of cool things like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Vegito, but it also brought us a really huge headache, and that is due to the power scaling that is really wonky within the Buu saga, because there's a lot of different interpretations regarding who is the most powerful one. Most people think it's Buuhan, others believe that it might be Kid Buu, who are actually really woke in a way. But generally, since there are a lot of different narratives within the manga, the anime, and the guides, it gives us a really complicated outlook onto who is really the most powerful one. And with me today, I have one of the elder gods of the Dragon Ball Z power scaling community. Yeah, he's been gone for a while, but you know, he's back. Super Saiyan Ryu.
What's good?
This is gonna be a video that's definitely gonna get us sniped. Like, it's not gonna matter what we say. I just think, you know, people are gonna be inclined to say, oh, this Buu is for sure the most powerful one. And I can already tell some of you off the bat that some of you are gonna disagree, okay? But before you actually start rage typing your comments or paragraphs, at least hear what we're gonna say, you know? Because in this video, we are not gonna go over like opinions or headcanon. We are not like a comics channel that's like, my opinion, right? We're gonna go and try to be as objective as we can, going off the guides, you know, the anime, the manga, all of the information that we have. We're gonna go over the most consistent result. And yeah, this is gonna be a hellish topic to cover, but someone has to do it, right? I really hope that you guys will enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So first, I think we should start off with the manga, because that is the quote-unquote original source material, and I guess you could say it is Akira Toriyama's primary interpretation of how the scaling and the story goes. And I think it is very easy to start off with Fat Buu, who is very clearly the weakest out of all of them. However, his power was really great, because he was able to casually stomp out Super Saiyan 2s who were more powerful than Super Perfect Cell and even Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan. The really interesting part of it is that Fat Buu was stated to be so powerful that even 3 Super Saiyan 2s of that time couldn't do anything against him. And he was obviously more powerful than Dabura, who is stated to be comparable to Cell, maybe even more powerful as stated by Goku in the anime and in the manga. And yeah, defeating Dabura might not be that impressive, but when you compare it to like the higher scale feats that we see like in the anime, as we will cover later on in the video, it actually really highly validates it.
So yeah, basically when it comes down to Fat Buu, we know he was already much stronger than Dabura, who, like was said earlier, was stronger than Super Perfect Cell, or at least implied to be by Goku. So even if we said he was just Super Perfect Cell level, that would make Dabura, as we know, comparable to any of Cell's feats of power, one of which being, of course, the famous solar system destroying level of power that Cell states that he has when he's fighting Gohan. Something that we came across actually, which is really kind of interesting though, is that when they define a solar system inside of the Daisenshu, they actually state that the solar system is a galactic nebula, and they state that this thing actually has innumerable stars in it. So we could actually even imply that Cell's power was actually the ability to destroy an object which is a galactic nebula with many stars, which could easily place Cell in the multi-solar system range to, you know, possibly even galaxy level, which is honestly pretty lit when you think about it, because that makes Cell a lot stronger than a lot of people ever thought he really was.
He could finally beat Broly. No.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like, I know a lot of people might disagree with this. However, in the long scale of things, it actually makes a lot of sense, because in the anime and in the manga, we actually get a lot of cool feats and interpretations regarding how powerful these characters are. Yeah, and then once we get into Good Buu and Evil Buu, I mean, they don't really matter that much. We just know that, you know, they're basically both two parts of the whole that was Fat Buu. However, it is stated by Piccolo that, you know, Evil Buu took the majority of the power with him, so Good Buu was a lot weaker than Evil Buu, who are basically weaker than the whole Fat Buu. Now, when we get to Super Buu, it gets a lot more complicated, because prior to making this video, prior to, you know, re-researching everything, you know, looking at the manga and in the anime under a new light, I used to believe that Super Buu was without a doubt more powerful than Kid Buu. But when you analyze the series in depth, like, not even in depth, just like pay attention to what they're saying, it is actually extremely possible, without a doubt, that Super Buu is actually weaker than Kid Buu in the manga. So we know that Super Buu was powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and, he was getting his ass beat by Ultimate Gohan, but he was implied to be so powerful that not even Super Saiyan 3 Goku prior to getting some Zenkais was able to defeat. Goku even said when they were inside Buu's body that him and Vegeta together could not take on Super Buu. However, this is contradicted by what we see later on in the series. So when Super Buu undergoes his transformation into Buff Buu, it is stated by Vegeta and Goku that his power, his ki was rising, but then once he transforms back into Kid Buu, they don't mention anything about the ki rising or dropping. They never mention anything. The only thing they say is that his size, his physical body size, shrinked. They never say anything about the ki. So this is really important because of how the Spirit Bomb works later on that is used to defeat Kid Buu. Some of you might already be objecting this and saying, but Super Buu is the most powerful one, or, out of the pure Boos, you could say, or the base Boos. But this really makes no sense going by the manga and the guides like Dragon Ball Forever, which is essentially like an extension to the Daizenshu, and it is an official guide, and it actually has 3 statements regarding the power of the Boos. So for one, it says that Buu, after having Goten and Trunks and Gohan being removed from him, his power did diminish, but then it says that when Super Saiyan 3 Goku goes on to fight off against Kid Buu, that he is fighting a powered-up Buu, but the very same guide says that Buuhan was the mightiest or the strongest Majin at the time, and for this to make the most sense, it would have to be that Super Buu did get weaker after, Gohan and Gotenks were being removed from him, but then after Fat Buu was being removed, he did get more powerful, but not as powerful as he was when he was Buu-Tenks or Buuhan. This makes a lot of sense because within the manga, we know that Buuhan was so powerful, just by existing, Vegito is like, oh, I have to go Super Saiyan. So there was never any base Vegito or Buuhan fight, implying that Buuhan is at least more powerful than base Vegito, and we know in the Daizenshu that base Vegito is without a doubt stated to be more powerful than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Going off of that, it is very clear that, Buuhan is the most powerful one in the manga. But now I want to let Ryu explain as to why Kid Buu is undoubtedly more powerful than Super Buu in the manga, going off the Spirit Bomb.
In the manga, of course, we all know that one of the main reasons why people have often thought that Super Buu was the stronger one is simply just because of the statement about Goku and Vegeta not being able to defeat him. However, this is also directly contradicted because we know when they use the Spirit Bomb to battle against Kid Buu, it actually contains the energy from characters who are stronger than Super Buu, such as Mystic Gohan. The other people that are there also add their energy to it too, and of course, Goku and Vegeta would add their energy to it, etc., etc. So it's not really making a lot of sense for Kid Buu to be weaker than Super Buu when he's literally stopping an attack that contains more energy than characters like Mystic Gohan have, who could already whoop Super Buu with ease. So, yeah, the statement kind of contradicts itself, but when it comes to the actual showings with the feats, it is implied that Kid Buu is the stronger of the two.
It's also worthy to mention that due to the exponential nature of Genki itself, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so basically we've seen Spirit Bomb a few times, and the Genki energy, of course, is known to be basically exponentially stronger even than the source that it comes from, it seems, because we've seen, for example, things like the Spirit Bomb is almost able to defeat Vegeta, who can easily destroy the planet, despite the fact that Goku was only drawing a little bit of energy from the planet. So we can see just there alone that the amount of energy he was able to gain to create the Spirit Bomb was more than the source that he got it from.
And to give you guys another example about how exponential Genki is, in Dragon Ball Super, obviously in the Goku Black arc, we know that Merch Zamasu was able to give Super Saiyan Blue Vegito a challenge, but then Trunks came out of nowhere with, gathering Genki from the sword, the Spirit Sword. Trunks, just by gathering energy from base Goku and base Vegeta and a handful of humans that were still alive, he was able to gather enough Genki to cut Zamasu in half, who was giving Super Saiyan Blue Vegito a challenge. So it makes a lot of sense that if Goku is gathering energy from Mystic Gohan and a bunch of other characters, especially, gathering energy from around the afterlife, which is easily many times, larger than a universe, and also gathering energy from Earth and Namek, you are dealing with a lot of energy. The Spirit Bomb is even stated to be immeasurable within the Daizenshu, so it is very clear that this Spirit Bomb is far more powerful than Mystic Gohan and Super Buu, and Kid Buu was able to hold back against it momentarily, at least until Goku recovered his energy.
To mention, one thing worth saying is Kid Buu was in a pure evil state, so more than likely the Spirit Bomb is going to be more effective against him than a normal opponent.
Yeah, pretty much. So generally in the manga, since Buuhan was able to make Vegeta go Super Saiyan and Kid Buu was able to hold back against a really powerful Spirit Bomb, we can see that Buuhan is undoubtedly the most powerful one within the manga. And this is actually further backed up by El Manga Legendario.
If we look at El Manga Legendario, which is an official guide, then we also see that it basically states that Buu became weaker after the fusion parts were removed from him, such as, Trunks, Goten, etc., Gohan. So right there, it's showing that he's becoming a lot weaker after they're removed. And then also we know that afterwards it states Buuhan was actually a foe that would have been invincible if it wasn't for the appearance of Vegito. So again, right there, we see that Goku and Vegeta had absolutely no chance of defeating him without fusing.
There is another page that says that Buu was an enemy that, became more powerful every time he transformed or every time he appeared. However, it is contradicted because of those two statements that Ryu mentioned. There's even one more that says that when Buu reverted back into his Kid Buu state, that he became more violent, but he wasn't as powerful. So the middle ground in this case would be that Super Buu did get weaker after Goten and the others were removed from him. But then after Fat Buu was removed, he did become more powerful than base Super Buu as Kid Buu, but was still weaker than Buu-Tanks and Buuhan, and this does coincide with the original manga and Dragon Ball Forever. Now, the Daizenshu doesn't give a direct answer as to who is the most powerful form of Buu. The guides basically just say, oh, Majin Buu was the most powerful opponent, the strongest guy that, the Z fighters had ever fought. And these terms are used to describe him in multiple entries when he's fighting off against Gotenks, Gohan, and Goku. And this notion is further backed up by an interview with Akira Toriyama, where he refers to Majin Buu as a whole being this really powerful opponent, and was giving the Z fighters a run for their money in a string of battles. So basically the Daizenshu is Majin Buu is big strong. However, the Dragon Ball Forever guide, which is essentially an extension or a compilation of parts of the Daizenshu, does outright state that Buuhan was the most powerful Majin. Now the anime. The anime is an absolute clusterfuck. If I had to describe it in one word, it would be Superman. Okay?
Superman pre-crisis.
Yeah. The reason I say this is because if you've read anything about Superman or, ever read up any feats about him, you'll know that he is all over the place, right? And this isn't so much because of his character, it is more so because of the writers. There's a lot of writers, they'll interpret the characters differently, and there seem to be more than one writer in the Buu saga. It is very apparent because there's a lot of contradicting statements. There's a lot of them that are from the manga, but there's new ones that weren't there to begin with. One of the main reasons as to why the anime is such a mess is because although Akira Toriyama did oversee some filler material and some stuff in the anime, he generally let the anime team do whatever they wanted to, really. He gave them a lot of freedom, and that is pretty much the case here. And I think that you can explain as to why some things are really whack in comparison to the manga.
Right, so basically when it comes down to the anime, I see a couple of themes here. Number one, they usually do include what's in the manga. However, number two, they add in a lot of shit that isn't in the manga, and sometimes it makes things confusing. They do have several very specific statements in the anime as well as the manga that, of course, Buu-Tanks is literally the strongest Majin to ever exist and that ever will exist as far as he knows. So right there we have a literal statement that's comparing him to all previous Buus and as far as he knows whatever he could become, and it's stating that he's the strongest one, and that's in both the anime and the manga. We have several other statements which I'm sure we can link here that basically imply or state the same thing. Things like, Goku and Vegeta being unable to defeat Buuhan or Buu-Tanks or what have you. But then you get into the other side of it with things that have been added into the anime, which are literally stating that Kid Buu is the strongest foe Goku has faced, or that he's not going to be able to defeat Kid Buu during his battle. or, things of that nature. And these come up several times again during the Kid Buu battle, which would imply that Kid Buu was the strongest, literal opponent, which would include, Buuhan, etc., etc. So you have these two contradicting sets of statements, which really set the anime up for a lot of confusion for a lot of people.
On top of that, it is stated by the narrator, Goku himself, and Vegeta and the Kais that this is like the most powerful Buu, the most dangerous one, right? And here's the crazy thing too, because Super Saiyan 2 Goku, when he faces off against Kid Buu, when he's like suppressed, he says, wow, you're like on a whole other level from all of the other Buus up till now. And he even says to Vegeta, this is the most powerful guy I've ever fought. This would include Buuhan because he fought him individually, before they fused. And the crazier part too is that Goku was confident that he could actually kill Super Buu while he was inside this body. And this statement from the anime is actually further backed up by a statement that is in a guide of the Dragon box book, which is official to the anime, and it says that Kid Buu, or the pure Buu, is without a doubt the most powerful. He has the greatest of combat power amongst all of the Buus. And obviously, going by the context of the other statements, as Ryu mentioned, it really doesn't make sense. However, if you look at it from how the Saiyans work and from the battles that Goku had in the anime that he did not partake in the manga, so for example, he fought off against Super Buu inside his body, which he never did in the manga. He also fought off against the fake Z Warriors, which are stated in the Daizenshu and in the anime that they are equal to their mainline counterparts. And here we see Goku as a Super Saiyan holding his own against Ultimate Gohan and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, or illusions of them at least. He did that, and on top of that, he was also able to face off against Buuhan momentarily before they fused as Vegito.
If we want to try and make sense of this shit show a little bit, what we can do is we can look into one of the big differences between the anime and the manga. The fact of the matter is there's actually more battles that take place in the anime, and one way that you could explain the seemingly massive boost in power that Goku got from back at the beginning of the Buu saga all the way up to basically the point where he fights Kid Buu is you could say that these battles basically entailed Goku gaining a combat boost or a Zenkai during combat, which we see early on as well in the Dragon Ball manga and anime with, for example, Vegeta and Dodoria. Vegeta talks about it. And then we also see this stated by Frieza that they continuously get stronger the more they fight. And also we see this especially prevalent in Dragon Ball Super. The biggest example is, of course, the Tournament of Power, where it's shown countless times that the Saiyans continuously get stronger throughout their battle there. And this Tournament of Power obviously doesn't take very long at all. So we could see for sure that Goku could become a lot stronger pretty quickly, and that could help to kind of explain some of these inconsistencies that we see with Goku seemingly going from being weaker than Super Buu to stronger than Super Buu.
Yeah, and after watching, the anime and rereading the manga and all the guides, it is never explicitly stated that Gohan or Gotenks surpassed Goku. Now, it is heavily implied, at least in the early part of the series. I even said this in my Gokhan video, that Gotenks and Gohan were more powerful than Super Saiyan 3 Goku at that point in time, before the Kid Buu saga. I mean, going by the statement that Kid Buu is the most powerful one, you have to see that Goku obviously got more powerful and surpassed him at the end. Vegeta even says, you're the only one who can fight him. Obviously, Gohan and the others were off on Earth. However, even as a Super Saiyan 3 at full power, Kid Buu was still more powerful than him. And as you were talking about, Goku obviously got a lot of combat increases along the way, and another really good example is in Dragon Ball Super, in the Goku Black arc, where, Goku and Vegeta really can't do much against Goku Black. Then Merch Zamasu appears, and Goku is seen able to overpower this fusion through, his sheer, will. He's like, I'm gonna win this, I need to become powerful enough to defeat you. And you could say, oh, whatever, it's plot, but, I mean, we've seen this stated all the way back in Dragon Ball Z, that Saiyans just get more powerful the more they fight, and, the stronger the opponent is. So, in the anime, it would make sense that Goku just got a lot of Zenkai increases, massive boosts, to being able to match up against Kid Buu, meaning that he would be stronger than Enraged Buuhan, who actually pushed Super Vegito. Now, I'm not saying that Super Saiyan 3 Goku surpassed Vegito. He is outright weaker than Vegito. However, he is at least stronger than Buuhan when he fights off against Kid Buu. As hard as it might be to believe that, that is what the series stated and entailed, despite all of the contradictions that, the manga brought in, into the anime. I mean, that is what it is, okay? I'm not here to, go headcanon and be like, no, I'm just gonna deny this. So the anime makes it very clear that Kid Buu is more powerful than Buuhan, Buu-Tang, Super Buu, and all of these other forms, like, undoubtedly. Not only does the anime have different scaling, but they also go balls deep on the feats, or implied feats in this case, which portray the Boos to easily having, at the very least, multi-galactic levels of power. You could even argue higher, but I mean, there's some crazy stuff out there. For example, Buuhan, while becoming so enraged, was gonna use the Vaishao to collapse alternate dimensions around the living universe to destroy it. And this isn't like some, oh, it's gonna be over time. It was an immediate threat. Vegeta was like, yeah, I need to stop him right now or he's gonna destroy everything. This is stated by multiple characters. It is stated in the Daizenshu, which is an official guide, and it is also in Kai, which is quote-unquote more canon than the original Z anime, and we know that Super is a direct continuation to Z, or Kai in this case, and they literally use, like, cutscenes from it anyways. So trying to say that this feat doesn't apply because it's filler, non-canon makes no sense. It's just, naysayers trying to downplay Dragon Ball Z. They can't believe that it's this powerful. There's some sites like Versus Wiki that, just deny this because, for some reason. But, that's not even the only feat too. There's like more that I'll let Ryu take over from here.
We have a few pretty amazing feats actually from the Buu saga that I'll go over here. One thing first, I'm going to have to mention a little bit of a cosmology lesson for you guys. Basically, in Dragon Ball, the other world is known to be much larger than the living universe, because we know that it's stated several times in the guides and the anime that even just heaven alone is already as large as the living universe. So, you scale the fact that heaven is inside of Otherworld, and logically Otherworld is larger than the universe since heaven is as large as the universe. I mean, you can debate how large exactly, but definitely many times larger than the regular universe. When you compare the size of heaven directly to the Grand Kai's planet, you can actually see that the Grand Kai's planet is about 1/10 the diameter of heaven, which would make the Grand Kai's planet multi-galaxy in size. And I'll get to where I'm going with this right now. When Kid Buu goes to the Grand Kai's planet and he starts smashing shit up, basically it's stated that he's going to destroy the entire Grand Kai's planet as he powers up an energy blast to do so. And because Grand Kai's planet is multi-galaxy in size, this feat, even on a low ball, would be multi-galaxy level for obliterating this planet with an energy blast. So there's one implied feat that he was going to do right there. A few other things worth mentioning are, if we look at the Kaioshin realm, it's directly stated to be 1/10 the size of the entire macrocosm in the Daisenshu. And of course, the Kaioshin realm being that size means that at bare minimum, it would be multi-galaxy in size, and honestly, probably universal in size if we go with a more realistic sizing of the entire macrocosm. Now, the fact of the matter is here, it's also shown and stated several times that Kid Buu and Goku, when they're fighting, they're fucking up this entire area here in the Kaioshin realm. Kaioshin realm's almost destroyed and obliterated. It's barely holding on by a thread after their battle's done. So again, this is implying at least multi-galaxy level power just from them fighting as a side effect.
And not to mention, it wouldn't make sense that people are saying, oh, it's non-canon filler, when Akira Toriyama himself has said that the manga is the anime, and he even says that he expected the anime team to put other stuff in there that wasn't in the manga because otherwise the anime would have been a lot shorter. Now, there's another thing that people try to bring up to say that Kid Buu is the most powerful one, and that is an interview that was done with Akira Toriyama several years back.
Basically, the interviewer here asks why it is that it seems that the smallest and cutest and youngest looking characters seem to be the strongest often in Akira Toriyama's series of Dragon Ball. And then they cite, for example, young Goku, Frieza, and Majin Buu in their final forms. The thing that Akira Toriyama states about this is he just wants to go against people's expectations, and he tries to switch things up so that it's not as straightforward and there's a little bit of contradiction. The issue with this, when people try to use it to claim that Kid Buu is the strongest version of Buu, is, first of all, Akira Toriyama never actually states that. He just basically is vague and he starts talking about how he just likes to switch things up. He never states directly that this person and what they stated is correct. And then also you can even look at what the person stated. Young Goku was not the strongest character there. Frieza's first form, which is shown on the pictures of this interview, is not even the strongest version of Frieza when he's talking about this. So, I mean, in reality, the answer that Akirama gives, it doesn't state anything about Kid Buu being the strongest Buu. So, I mean, anyone who's trying to claim it does is just stating something that's not actually there.
I feel like it is really disingenuous, you know, like it doesn't confirm nor deny, like it doesn't really give like a straight up answer. And not to mention that if you analyze the structure of the question, it is basically like trapping Toriyama into one particular narrative, right? It is not an open-ended question. For example, it would be like me saying, hey, what is the best ice cream flavor and why is it chocolate? Or what is like the best video game and why is it Halo Reach or something like that, right? Which it is. But you basically get the idea that there's a contradiction in the very same picture they show of Frieza, and obviously young Goku is not the strongest one, so trying to twist this into saying that Kid Buu's the strongest one makes no sense, because this interview doesn't confirm, it doesn't deny anything, it's just really vague, it contradicts itself. So there's really no point in using that.
Basically, whoever the interviewer is already giving Akira Toriyama the answer that he thinks he should give.
Yeah, basically. That's the best way that you could have described it.
Oh, overall, my thoughts on who is stronger between Buuhan and Kid Buu. In the manga, it's pretty clear that they make Buuhan out to be the stronger of the two. In the anime, they do definitely state several times that Kid Buu is the strongest foe that Goku's ever fought, etc., and the strongest Majin form. So those obviously are stating that he should be theoretically stronger than Buuhan. The issue with that there is there's lots of contradictions, so it gets into a big clusterfuck of, well, what do we take as, you know, the actual power range in the anime? So that goes on there, maybe one or the other. Then with the guides, I mean, again, it has contradictions even within the same guides that one or the other is stronger. So it all comes down to the fact that both of them have some statements and implications that they're the strongest. However, for me personally, since the entire manga basically has Buuhan as the strongest, and there is more statements for Buuhan, I would say consistently Buuhan is the stronger of the two.
So overall, if I had to rank them off of the consistency of the anime, the manga, and the guides, it is very clear that Buuhan would be 1, 2 would be Buu-Tanks, 3 would be Kid Buu, 4 would be Super Buu, 5, Fat Buu. I mean, I feel that going off of everything, that makes the most sense. However, if you think about it, if you want to go into Super, Dragon Ball Kai is canon to Super because they directly use assets and cutscenes from it, and all those statements about Kid Buu are in Kai. So if you want to go off of Super, the anime, Kid Buu would be the most powerful one, right? But consistently, Buuhan would be the most powerful one. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Please don't snipe me, and if you're gonna do it, at least don't warn me, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Anything else you wanted to add, bro?
Oh, I think the ranking sounds solid. Probably get some arguments between Super Buu and Kid Buu in the comment section, but I mean, have at it. If you have a different opinion, then we might listen to you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here, bro. I really hope you can do more collabs in the future. Please check out Ryu's channel. He's gonna be doing a lot of like speed feed calculations. He does Dragon Ball and, you know, Saint Seiya and stuff like that. So yeah, subscribe to this fool, and I'll catch you thotties next time. Peace out.